right, Matt Ivy here, NAB 2018 with Adamus and our good pals at Broadfield. I'm going to go over what we're introducing as a firmware update for the Sumo 19. We know a lot of people have been waiting for this, and I'm going to go over what it is that we're going to be delivering as an updated firmware in the next few weeks. Part of what we said we were going to do was we were going to do ISO recording, and then I'll show you what we're doing for a monitor output switching. So that's what we're going to do here now. So all I got to do is press the monitor button, and oh, now I've got this great quad split screen. These are 4 HD Genlock inputs, as I mentioned. In this case, they happen to be 29.97 frame rate, 1080. So 1080p, 2997. You can go through and you can examine each one that you want, and then you'll notice on the output that the one that I've selected is on a switched monitor output of the Sumo 19. All that was already built into the hardware of the product. So you'll notice there's an icon in here for the ISO record. So each one of these that you press, so gray is, I'm not going to record that one. But since I've got 4 that are in, you can press this button here and you'll see it goes back out to the big screen, and then monitor again, and I'm back to my quad split. Just like all Adamus interface that has been done, very easy to operate. So right now I have 4 ISO inputs that are all going to get recorded. So when I press the record button, you'll see the record icons start blinking for the red for recording each one of those HD inputs, all 4 of them. So we'll let that record for a little bit here, and then you'll see what the end result will be. So when I stop this, they stop recording. Now I can go into the playback area just by going back out to my monitor. I go into playback, and you'll see that the system will change over to playback. And then what you'll notice is when I go in and I look at the ISO records themselves, is that here we go. These are all 4 of the ISO records, 1, 2, 3, and 4. It says how long the clips are, which is cool. Always lots of information has already been built into the product. But the really cool thing about this is if you go back up a level, you'll see that that is a folder. So those 4 ISO ProRes files that are .mov wrapped are all sitting in this nice little folder. You can open them up, and then you can play each one of them back. So and then you can play that back to go out to another monitor and look at the signals that are coming in. You notice that it is switching. So one of the things we're doing here, we're using a Shogun Inferno on that output, so we can record the program out of what's being switched. At the same time, just to do a transition over to our converter line, we're actually taking that output, which is 1080p 2997, and turning that into 720p 60. Okay? So, and we're doing that through one of our converters. This happens to be the CSC line, and this is taking the HDMI output, and we're converting it into SDI so that could go out to streaming, because streaming is very popular to be done in 720p 60. So an entire workflow all in this small space, including the recorded ISO files that you would use for doing your editing, and then a switched output that can be used for other things like we've shown here, as well as getting a master record on a Shogun Adamus recorder for this on the output. Okay, so that's the update and the lineup on the Sumo for that firmware update, and an introduction to how you can use their converters and to do cross conversion for doing streaming.